Hello Spooksters, and welcome to part 3 of our Sylvanian Haunted House Makeover. So, I think it looks really good at this stage, but we need some landscaping, which is something I didn't do with my Sylvanian sewing shop. So for that, I've got this slightly more autumnal, less bright green grass to go for. I have got other grass, but this one is really much brighter. I think this looks more suitable for autumn. Oh, the spiders have got in there, wonderful. Relevant to the season. So the first thing I'm going to do is literally just roll this out, tuck it under the house and trace around the floor plan of the house. And then cut it out. I'm also going to trace around the house so that I know where to put everything back. Now we're going to hot glue down our grass. Now, hot glue is clearly not the way to go. Right, I'll go to the shop and get some normal glue. Right, I'm back with normal multi-purpose glue. And let's see if this works any better. Because I only actually have a day to do this, and I'd really like to get it done because I'm away in 2 days. I'm just gluing around the edge bits. And then just a bit in the middle for some traction. Now, I do have to wait for this to dry, but it already looks a lot more like it's going to stay. Oh well, we've decided where our tree's going to go because I've got some glue on this bit. So while we're here, we may as well stick our house on as well. Which simply involves doing exactly the same thing with the footprint of the house. Now you might be wondering what I'm planning on doing with these bare wood bits at the side of the house. But all shall be revealed before too long. Question is if we're going to be using multi-purpose glue or hot glue. So I'm going to make sure that this tail is tucked under and just gently set it into its final position. Back slightly forward so it does overlap the grass. I'm not going to worry if there's too many gaps because again the next step will solve all. So while I was still doing archaeology, which I don't do anymore on a commercial basis, we do this thing that's called flotation, where you float soil samples to get all of the organic material out of it so you can analyse any charcoal, bits of wood and things that come out. And then you sieve into finer grades and sort the remaining material and pick out any bits of bone or anything left behind. So this is the second finest grain of sieve, and once all that's been done to it, it's useless and we chuck it out. But I thought it'd be useful for modelling. So I've taken some of this and I'm just going to glue it all around the base of our building just to set it into the ground a bit more and look like it's supposed to be there. But this is going to get messy, so bear with. No, Spider, you don't want to be part of this process, trust me. Oh, I haven't got anything to use as a glue stick. Bit of paper, do the job nicely. The only place I'm not going to do this is directly in front of the house, for reasons again that will become apparent momentarily. Probably shouldn't be doing this on my grandmother's late 1960s, early 1970s sewing machine table, but it's the table that I have. So the next bit we're going to do is to add a little windy path. Again, with glue. I want it to look relatively organic, as if it's sort of been grown over by grass. So we're going to leave that to dry for a few minutes while I have my coffee. And then we're going to crack on with some nice features in this garden. I think that's turned out really rather well. In fact, better than I'd hoped. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some little tombstones to the garden. And here's some I made earlier. I made these when I was making all the little clay bits for upstairs in the house. So now we're going to paint these. I'm going to make sure we get some nice dark detail into the sort of low points, and then we're going to dry brush on top of it so that it looks sort of nice and weathered and cool. And we're going to stick them on. So I've had the slight problem that I seem to have ruined all of my brushes or can't find them. So this is a very, very manky brush that I was using for oil painting, but is now sort of irrevocably horrible. So that'll have to do. I mean, it's what we've got. So white, black, grey, white, black. Very light grey, not what I want. Slightly darker. Right, oh, this brush really isn't doing well. So, grey. Good thing this clay, air dry clay, seems to be very forgiving. So I'm just doing the backs first, because they require less brain power. I shall do my thinking later. Would like some variation in there, so I won't do them all the same colour. And this one, I'm not actually going to paint the back at all, because this is going to be a flat tombstone. You can see the way the brush moves, it's not really a brush at the moment. It is truly awful. Oh dear. oh well, work with what we've got, because I would like to spend more time on this, frankly, but I actually started the whole process in late September, but things just get on top of you, you run out of time and you have a lot more hours of work than you're expecting, so you just have to make do with what you've got. I'll probably come back at some stage and improve it, and I will update you, of course, when I do that, but now it's getting towards the end of October, and I want this and my costume to be done, so we're just going to have to work with it, guys. So now we have our little tombs painted. I'm going to take most of this off and just start spotting around and trying to not get it into the letters, just so they show up a bit better. My 6, on the other hand, is not playing ball, so I'm just going to sort of scrape it back in again. I've done a few different things on these graves. This tiny one is a grave that says unknown on it. This has got the sort of classic skull and crossbones motif, and it's 1776 to 1834, just because I thought that was a, I don't know, good number. I don't know, went for it. And this one is Here Lies Charles Ramkin. That's a Terry Pratchett reference to Lady Sybil Ramkin. And this is just sacred to the memory of. And this one is a nut, because I couldn't fit Nutter on there. So they are just little fun references, because I don't know, if you can't have fun with your tiny Sylvanian gravestones, what can you do in life, to be honest? So once these are dry, we're going to put a little bit of sort of lichen around them, like that, the yellow lichen that you always get on gravestones here in the UK. And I don't know why that happens, particularly on gravestones. Maybe it happens on other stone objects, but obviously you don't really see that many very old stones left lying around for a long time. So we will get on with that once these are dry. So we have the slightly unpleasant horrible yellow off mustard colour. I'm just going to take the vast majority of that off and test it out. I don't want too much of this because it doesn't really cover a whole lot on the stones. So once those are completely dry, we're going to stick them down. We are also going to add a little bit of ivy to all these, which is what I saved the ivy from part 1 for. So now that these are all painted, we're ready to stick them down, starting with this little guy. This one I'm actually going to glue on the back. Oh, it's made the clay surprisingly hot. Probably a good thing. Probably. It's always an interesting tip where basically you slightly melt the end of the glue stick, and then when you shove it in, it should glue automatically to the next stick. And you can see that I've got some residual glue left there, so I'm just going to hide that with some more gravel. And we can just take our trusty Henry the Hoover and clean up the excess. Here we have a little graveyard. So while we're here, on at least one of the graves, I'd like a little bit of ivy going on. So on to our final bit of decoration. I've got this stick which I thought would make an ideal tree. It is just a bit of tree, so clearly it's not bad at being a tree. So all I'm going to do is basically hot glue this down onto the base to the best of my ability, and then we'll start putting leaves on the branches. I'm going to start by putting this down and essentially gluing around the base and hoping that it stays up. I'm not experienced with hot glue, so I'm not entirely sure what its capabilities are. I imagine I have to actually hold it still. You can hide it with some more gravel. Which maybe will act like some form of concreting, I don't know. This bit's going to be very boring, it's just me holding this in place until hopefully it dries. I've done an extra layer of sticking, leaving it to dry and supporting it with this little tin that had shortbread in it at one stage. Now what I really should have done was to drill a hole to put it in, but I didn't, so let's take away our support and see if it stays up. Hurrah! Look at that. So now we need some foliage. So my plan for the foliage was essentially to build up a layer to create more bulk in the canopy with the hot glue, and then hot glue again and stick leaves on. So let's try building up the canopy a little bit. Oh, actually that might be quite useful. There you go. Stick you there. So I'm essentially trying to glue where branches would naturally form a canopy. This is just going to, oh, sorry guys, this is just going to be a messy process. Should have done this really before I put this onto my model, which I'm now probably going to incredibly badly mess up. So what I'm essentially trying to do here is spiderweb between everything. But then of course I catch it on my machine and thus make a bloody mess. Get off my hands please, thank you. You stick on there, make a little branch. Trust the process, guys, because I sure as hell don't. So we've established that hot glue is not the miracle liquid that I believed it to be. So let's mix some leaves and deal with the process later. So that's my remaining ivy leaf stuff. So I'm going to carry on using it because autumn trees do have some green in them. But I'm going to mix quite a lot of this orange in and lots of this yellow, which I haven't opened yet, apparently. Give that a swirl. What does it look like? Oh, that is nice. I think a couple of more of this lighter green, but not lots. I don't want to upset the tree balance. Because it is only October, lots of the trees are still fairly green at this stage, but I think that looks like a nice, what do you guys think? Nice mix? Maybe a smidge more orange, because it's a nice Halloween-y colour. These little tiny leaves are great, by the way. I don't know if you can see that they have actually got little shapes. So I shall almost certainly use these again in future. That's a good autumn colour, yes. So now we're going to go back with our second layer of hot glue and try and stick some of these on. In fact, I shall put a bit of paper underneath the tree because that'll probably save me some leaves. I've used like 3 glue sticks during this process. Not made of money on this channel. So I would like to, I'm sure there's a better way of doing this. I would like to say thank you to everyone who's offered me advice during this process. I am very new to modelling, and if there is anything else that other people may see fit to advise me on, please do, because I'm well, you can see what I'm doing right now, mate. To be honest, it's really rather haphazard. Maybe if I hot glue the leaves themselves and then stick them on. Ow! Hot glue hot. Hot glue very hot. I think I've just made a fucked up tree. So I've come up with a probably terrible technique which involves putting glue into the leaves themselves, waiting for it to cool down to handleable temperature, and then sticking that on the tree later. Please, if anyone has any advice, give it to me for next time, because this is awful and I am burnt. Stick to the project, not to me. Please, please, for the love of God, stick to the project, not to me. Ouch, ouch, hot glue, ouch. So I think this level of leaf might be all I'm capable of. It's not a good job, guys. Let's face it, it ain't a good job. But it's what we've got. We'll just pretend that all that hot glue is, you know, spooky spider webs in the tree or something. Let's go with that. So in an effort to hide some, but certainly not all, of our mistakes, and also because the lawn is looking far too sort of even and nice, we're going to use these tufts of grass. You can see those, just to sort of break things up a bit and make some things look a bit more overgrown. So I'll let you watch that process while I try and reconcile the fact that, Jesus, my tree looks dreadful. I'll admit that the latter technique of sticking the leaves as they are and then shoving them on the tree might be good, but my hands are frankly killing me. My nail polish has been ripped off, I've burned, I've got bits of stuff on me. So I have really had fun with the entire project except that bit. Oh my god, there must be a better way of doing this. If you do have a better way of doing this, please let me know in the comments, because I wouldn't call myself a perfectionist, but yeah, that's not good. Like, is it? These grass tuft things are great. They really make a difference. Right, someone please stop me before I go entirely overboard on the grass tufts. So I'm going to do something a bit cute because I feel like it. This tiny grave down here, I'm just going to have some little purple flowers growing out in front of it. So just before we finish this project for now, I'll probably come back and work on it later. I have got some more tiny books for the tiny bookshelf. Unfortunately I now have too many tiny book for tiny bookshelf, so some more Sylvanians are evidently going to be getting some books. And I still think the bedroom looks rather bare compared to everywhere else, so something needs to be done there. Any suggestions, please put them down in the comments. And now we'll head to the outro. So here we are at the end of our haunted house journey. There's been fun, there's been frustration, but we are here. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. The tree, I'll admit, is... I'm not going to get myself struck or anything, so it's not great, let's face it. But overall, I think the graveyard especially looks fantastic. I've had a lot of fun doing this, even though, frankly, I wanted to rip my hair out at times. But that's crafting, especially when you're doing something that you've never done before. But overall, I'm dead happy. Dead happy. So if you have enjoyed this, please do leave a comment and subscribe if you'd like to see more of me struggling through life. A special thank you to Minata for her advice on my last Sylvanian makeover video. I wish I'd read it before I attempted all this. But yes, and also thank you to Xandra of Britain. You supported me from the beginning and you're fantastic. I love you to pieces. And yeah, have a wonderful Halloween, guys, and come back for when I do my Halloween costume video, which should be coming out towards the end of the month. And yeah, goodbye.